It's Friday.
It is Friday.
That was
Made
a
it to
fast
Friday.
week. This was a fast week. It felt like a holiday week. Like
Yeah.
I felt like there was a day missing somewhere. Oh my
wonder
goodness. What a day. What a day it's been.
I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, about that, guys.
Awkward. Awkward. We're obviously going to kick off the show talking tech about the EVGA shutting down its GPU division of the company. And then we'll get into some lighthearted stuff to maybe kind of... Because I'm sure that you guys have... Look, our video has already got over 300,000 views. It only shows 40 or 52 or something on there because the counters... When a video goes viral, the counter goes through an audit. And so YouTube takes time to verify those views are not botted. Because when it goes super fast, YouTube's like, whoa, let's verify these, make sure these are real views. So I guarantee if mine's over 300,000, Steve's a little bit ahead of mine right now. Steve did a huge deep dive in there. I kept mine, as you would expect, more regular Joe kind of an approach to what's happening there.
Like how it affects you guys. As
Steve did a very obviously we had the same notes and stuff, but we talked a little bit, and I was like, I know you're going to go deep dive. I'm going to go more average consumer on this, and there's some great information, obviously, in his video and more details if you guys want. To be honest, he talked more about the revenue split and stuff, things that I wasn't necessarily sure I wanted to say, because I don't know how much of that is supposed to be known by the public. Like the fact that 78% of their market, their revenue was GPU sales. And then obviously they've got the peripherals, keyboard, mice, capture cards, very small. Power supplies is their second biggest. Motherboards is their smallest division. I thought it would be higher than that.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all that. Before we get started, don't forget Dad Bods and PC Mod shirts. I should ask them to send us ours, huh?
Yeah.
Please.
Before sorry guys.
Maybe they're like, well, 2/3 of your team aren't dads, so they don't get it. I don't want to have to become a dad to get it, to get the shirt.
You got to show your dad card to get one.
Yeah, you can keep the shirt, dude.
You know what? I am glad neither of you have kids, to be honest.
So
I know you.
Me too.
I'll be the first to tell you
both
that.
of you are glad for selfish reasons. I'm glad for the greater good.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad because I think that I'm not nowhere near mature enough and ready for that.
Yeah.
To be responsible for a human life.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't even keep a plant alive, man.
And never get a puppy, because I feel like puppies are harder than babies.
Yeah, I feel
personally.
So
Too late.
but
Got
yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and
you-
your
you-
dog does seem to take after you in many ways. Even your dog's resting face looks the same. Like that one. Baxter looks just like that.
That face right there.
That one.
But he's more my sister's dog.
Every photo of your dog, he's just like. Everyone says my husky looks like me just because she has gray fur.
Well, yeah, and your husky does this face too.
Yeah, she does this one a lot. She does this one.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Which is basically like, you guys don't get to see it, but it's basically every time Jay tries to do an ad read.
Yeah.
Today's video is...
There'd be a pretty good complication, a pretty good compilation of just all my bad ad reads.
I know.
You know a bad lip sync? The video bad lip sync? We need Jay's bad ad reads.
It would just, like 80% of it would just be censors.
I almost said bad rad reads. No, that's water cooling video.
Rad bad reads?
Rad bad reads.
Rad bad reads.
What did I say the other day? Gus something?
Gus Gasoling.
Gus Guzzling. I went to say gas guzzler because we were talking about like gas guzzler tax and stuff internally, and I accidentally said Gus Guzzling.
So now that it's officially a Gus Gasoling. I don't even remember what it is. Yeah, Gus Guzzler.
Gas guzzler.
No, I know, but like I was trying to say it wrong, and then I almost said it right.
It's like my nickname within the racing community with Nissan is Nuke Gizmo. Because I went to say Juke Nismo on the walkie-talkie when we were caravanning, and I said, guys, check out the Nuke Gizmo to my right. And since then, they've like dubbed me Nuke Gizmo on all of the like stuff where you put a name. So.
And a Nuke Gizmo would be a Gus Gasoler. So
Nuke Gizmo is how you inseminate a whole city at one time.
About that not being ready for kids thing, huh?
That's not a weapon of mass destruction. That's a weapon of mass horror. An explosion of J's. Never mind. Yeah. Okay, let's move forward.
Is it a MERV, like the one that you have multiple warheads that can re-enter?
Oh yeah, the one that's boom, boom, and it just like starts. It's like a bouncing Betty, but like all over the city.
Yeah, well, no, like, but then they individually target.
What is a cluster bomb?
What are we talking about? Okay, EVGA.
It's a good thing I don't have chat up at the moment. Let's look at chat for a second here. Oh, goodness. Okay.
Welcome to Friday, guys.
The EVGA news. Might I just add how incredibly awkward it was when we realized why we were there?
Oh, right. Because you guys were just like, oh, you guys were like excited, right?
Okay, so I was so relieved because Steve was there, John Petty Research was there, and I was there.
Yeah.
Steve almost didn't come because he had to fly from North Carolina.
Yeah.
And he had to decide, was it worth his time with no information? Because here's the problem. Brands will be like, hey, we got this thing coming it's going to be huge. And they're like, okay, well, what is it? It's a mouse. And you're like, bitch, no. So I'm serious. I could use the bleep button, but I don't want to.
No,
okay, I'm allowed a few of them, FAA rules or
word.
FCC rules. Anyway,
PG-13. Yeah, you can say the B word.
You're allowed one B word, but then we have to
Well,
say
no,
it,
I think you're
right?
allowed one F word. But
You're
anyway,
allowed one F word, but you can say B word. But anyway,
but Steve had to decide, was it worth this time? So the selfish part of me was like, dang it, Steve, why'd you have to show up? But I'm super appreciative of Steve's expose videos because they're very neutral, very deep dive. He approached it very similarly to how he did the whole artesian builds thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that he was there because it's another perspective from another angle and another set of ears listening. Because I told Steve afterwards, I said, it'll be interesting when all three of our content goes live because our takeaways are probably going to be different about what this means. So if you guys are born in a barn right now and you have no idea what we're talking about, EVGA, as of today, through my outlet, Steve at Gamers Nexus and John Petty Research, announced that they will not be participating in the Nvidia GPU program any longer. They will not be producing 40 series or any GPUs beyond, and they will only be selling 30 series as long as their current purchased inventory lasts, which is expected to be through the end of the year. I don't know if I am allowed to say this or not, but they don't really have anything like 3080 Ti and up left. So we're talking like mainstream 3070s, 3060s, that sort of stuff.
Aside from the allocation.
Aside from the allocation that they're withholding for warranty purposes. Because remember, they have like, what, a 3-year warranty. They have to have... If I just bought an EVGA graphics card yesterday, I'd be like, oh, shoot. Mm-hmm. I, to be honest, would maybe approach this in two different kind of perspectives here. Do I return it and get something else with someone that will be around still? Or do I hang on to it going, it's the last of its kind, And then something happens 2 years from now and you find out they miscalculated their allocation and they have nothing to replace it with. What are they going to do? They can buy it back? I don't know. So there's a little bit of concern there. But let's talk about the 78%, because I think a lot of people don't understand that figure. Yeah. So I didn't put the number in my video because, again, wasn't sure how much of their revenue split I was really allowed to talk about. There was a lot of on the record, off the record, on the record, off the record, and I basically had a rule that said if I wrote it down, it was on record. If I didn't, I wasn't going to talk about it. So I didn't write down those numbers because I didn't know how public they wanted to be with that. I'm now citing Steve because he put them public. So if they're not allowed to be talked about, then you got to go yell at Steve, not me. So 78% of the gross volume of sales from EVGA comes from graphics. So that does not mean 78% of the profit or the overall cash fluidity of the company comes from graphics, because graphics was one of their least profitable divisions.
Right. It's just the amount of stuff, but not the amount of money.
Yeah, it's like, would you rather sell, I don't know, let's say 50,000 PSUs that have a 20% or 20-point markup? Or would you rather sell 100,000 graphics cards that have 20% markup? Which would be more profitable?
You mean like 2%?
Yeah, you said 20 for both of them. Like 20 points.
Yeah, you said
Did
20.
I?
Yeah.
Okay.
2%
then let's
GPUs,
say,
right?
No, it depends on the graphics card. For instance, For the Win 3s and all that cost more to make than PCXs.
Right.
So it's like, I'm hearing a weird sound on the mic.
ICXs? You said PCXs.
No, is it ICX?
Yeah, ICX is the cooling stuff.
XC, that's what I'm thinking.
XC.
So the XC models cost more or less to make than the For the Win 3.
Right.
That's because they don't have the extra overclocking headroom, they have the extra power delivery, they don't have the extra fans, the extra cost going into building the cooler and stuff, so they're cheaper to make. The problem is something like the XC doesn't, that's more of a mainstream card that they make to make them more closer to MSRP. But the thing is, MSRP for Nvidia is much more reasonable and doable because you don't have the overhead of having to buy from a supplier. So they're their own supplier and manufacturer.
Yeah.
So they can do MSRP and actually have a better yield in terms of profit per card than any AIB.
Yeah, it was like when you were talking about in the video. Nvidia doesn't have to pay themselves for their own die
Right.
to implement it into a card. Whereas obviously AIB people have to buy the die from Nvidia, then put it into a card, then sell the card, then try to make that money back that they spent on the die.
Yeah.
Which is the whole business, right, for AIBs.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where once Nvidia started selling graphics cards directly, it really then is an interesting situation because of the fact that as an AIB, you can't compete with the potential costing. Now, fortunately, even though the Founders Edition cards have always looked nice, they're not in the top tier performers in terms of cooling.
Right.
They're still not, even 30 series. And so there's always a better benefit to go with AIBs because better cooling. The problem here is the way NVIDIA is sort of been handling these relationships with the AIBs. Looking at what they're saying on Reddit, the memes that have been posted, it's obvious, and we knew this because we talked about the possible outcomes of like, how would the public perceive this? Mm-hmm. Everyone, of course, is going to jump on NVIDIA because people love to hate on NVIDIA. That's because the leadership at NVIDIA, the upper brass, the ethics and philosophy up there sucks. Okay, they're assholes. There's no other way to put it. Like Jensen, whoever's working directly under him, they are completely pompous when it comes to the way that they do business. And they have, I mean, the quote, Steve basically put the quote in his video that said, I guess when asked about the AIBs, Jensen basically said, well, what have they ever done for us? You know, they feel like they're making money on doing nothing.
Yeah.
His quote, to paraphrase, was, they're making money without putting in any effort. That's so disingenuous to say. Because every AIB is basically building custom PCBs and custom power deliveries and custom coolers that's implementing the main schematic that NVIDIA provides, but they're manufacturing everything from the ground up for their cards.
But it's even harder for an AIB because it's like you're pushing for performance, but you have to keep it within a window, a bracket where you're still going to make money instead of lose money on it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like it's like you're pushing for performance where NVIDIA limits you to like, you know, certain little things again. Now you have to push for price, but then NVIDIA limits you there again. And then it's just like, it's like,
so you're kind of stuck.
They're like, hey, do business with us, but also all of these things that you have to follow that like are not conducive to.
You mentioned the do business with us. I personally do not think NVIDIA gives one flying F right now about EVGA leaving.
Yeah.
I think that to them, that's one less headache for them to have to worry about. Because
like
I think
in the video, right?
Because I think NVIDIA is that full of itself.
They're like the Joffrey right now. They're being Joffrey kind of deal.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, come on, you got Jensen on their own website talking to himself as a bobblehead. Like he's having a conversation with himself as a joke.
What?
Have you not seen that?
No, I didn't.
Go to the NVIDIA website. You'll see it. I don't know if it'll show up on the phone. I don't know if it's a different site, but I can tell you on the desktop it does. He's sitting there having like a little, and the bobblehead is him wearing the leather jacket, and he's like having a conversation with himself.
Bruh.
That's funny. But yeah, you can keep going.
But the conflict for someone
oh my God, yeah, you're right.
So the conflict.
Like, look, because they're just, dude, they're.
Oh no.
It changed. So the conflict for me personally
Yeah.
is the fact that they make a great product. They make a great product.
I know. It's like such a good. Like,
but why can't the great product be met with great like personality and ethics in the leadership of the company? So EVGA is just, they had enough. I mean, like Steve said, EVGA is they're not a full victim here in this because there was a history of over purchasing and they're part of the same volatile market as anyone else. You know, if you run a car dealership, you have to, the dealership orders those cars on consignment from the dealer. The longer they sit there, especially every 30 days they sit there, they make a payment on those cars. So it's their best interest to sell cars as fast as they can. So if you over order and you got 550 cars sitting there on your lot not moving, that's your purchasing department's problem, right? That's on you. You can't say, well, Ford isn't making a good enough car for us to sell. I'm not saying that EVGA said that about NVIDIA, but just an example.
Yeah.
Do I think EVGA is going to survive this? Not in the EVGA that we know it now. There's no way. If 78% of your gross volume comes from GPUs, that means you have a GPU marketing division. You have a GPU allocation division, which is directly communicating with NVIDIA, RAM suppliers, PCB designers, all that stuff. Did you unplug yourself?
No, I'm good.
Oh, PCB designers. You got your engineer, like EVGA. All their engineers are back in Taipei, Taiwan.
Oh yeah, dude, I didn't even think of
all
that.
those guys are guaranteed to be laid off.
Yeah.
So the North American team here is the one that then you have in the GPU market. You have those that are account management for like Amazon sales. Best Buy sales, Micro Center sales, whoever else is your retailers. You have your SI integrators, your system integrators. All those people have account managers. It's their job to handle the orders and stuff to different SIs. There's no way, if 78% of your gross volume is also going to mean probably realistically more than half of your employees are going to be dedicated to graphics in some form or another, whether it be warehousing, distributing, designing, maintaining, right? Repairing, because they have their RMA department, intaking,
There's like so much
marketing
stuff around it. Yeah.
system integrator management, account managers of all types. There's no way you can reallocate those to other divisions within your company, especially divisions that are nowhere near the size. So Andrew says, who's the CEO, that he's going to redistribute them throughout the company, because it's all in Brea for North America. It's all in Brea. They're in the same building. It's not like they're in different parts of the country. They're all in the same building. They're going to put them on other projects and stuff. But that's the thing, is like, I think there's this feel good effort to try and say, hey, we're not going to lay anyone off. That's only temporary. There's no way.
Yeah.
Because you can't stay solvent that way. If you're trying to keep all these people on board and you're moving them onto divisions that make up 22% of your entire gross income. So it's scary. And when that happens...
Volume, not income, right?
Huh?
Volume, not income, right? You said income.
Well, I said gross.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I said, remember, that means of all the money coming in, how much of that money did you spend to make that money coming in?
Right.
Right? And so when it comes to... That's why we talk about points markup and stuff. Graphics cards have a very small margin of profit. Power supplies for EVGA is their most profitable. So yeah, I think this is one of those things where I feel like all three of us in this meeting spent a lot of time trying to convince EVGA that this was probably not the best move. I basically said to Andrew directly, I said, it sounds like you're literally cutting off your own nose to spite NVIDIA's face, and NVIDIA doesn't care. So you're making a statement, but it's how long is that statement going to last, and what's it going to do? It's not going to do anything to NVIDIA. I feel like there's this is probably the beginning of the end. Whether it's 1 year, 5 years, I don't know, 10 years.
So sad.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
That's like yeah.
I said multiple times in my video, what sucks is, and the comments reflect my fears, is that one of the best RMA programs, one of the best customer support driven companies is now out of that market.
Step Up and everything.
Yeah. Even though I think Step Up stopped with the whole inflation, not inflation, but the scalping thing and whatnot. But still, it's a
shame.
Here's the part that was extremely awkward about this, though, is we knew before the employees affected did.
Yeah.
And that's what was super awkward, because what I started to say is we went into this meeting with all these like thoughts of, well, why would we think we're here? When the meeting was put on the calendar, I was like, what are they announcing? Because we were just told, hey, it's gonna be big news. We didn't know what it was. And there was gonna be an embargo. That's all we knew. EVGA AMD? Is that happening? Because we saw AMD motherboard. Why wouldn't they go graphics? AMD Intel? Is AMD buying a company? Is AMD being bought by a company?
AMD.
I'm sorry, EVGA. Is EVGA buying a company? Is EVGA being acquired by a company? Is EVGA merging with a company? Is the CEO himself maybe relinquishing his CEO role to someone else? Is he stepping down? But I didn't think that was going to be big industry news.
Yeah.
I honestly was like, I don't think people would care at
CEOs
all.
change all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of us thought it was going to be EVGA leaves the market, the graphics division. I'm carefully not saying the word quitting, because Andrew was very adamant they're not quitting, that it was a pattern of disrespect, and whatnot. So
What if, like, out of speculation, what if it was a lateral move and they come out of like the far field with an AMD or an Intel?
I've already said, I don't know if you were paying attention when we filmed it. Andrew has zero interest whatsoever about making an AMD or an Intel graphics card.
Okay, but yeah, I was like wishful thinking, kind of like, okay, it's a.
What if they did? Great.
Yeah.
I-Intel could use their manufacturing experience when it comes to graphics cards and design.
It would be sick.
Yeah,
to see
They've already got Raja Kaduri. I mean, seems like he knows what he's doing, but he was also the captain at the helm of the entire blunder of Vega. So Raja being on the AMD team was never exciting for me. But they got Tommy Peterson, who was an amazing SoC designer from Nvidia on Intel, obviously. If we were to bring in Andrew's 22 years of manufacturing experience and help Intel. That would have been great.
That would have been insane, yeah.
But no, Nick, I do not think that I do not think they spent 4 hours telling us they're not going into business with another brand just to come out and say we're going into business with another brand.
Okay.
I don't know.
If only.
Yeah.
He might if AMD reaches out. No, he won't. You were not in that meeting. Tweedle, you were not in that meeting, okay? It is not that simple. Because here's the thing. They could have reached out themselves to AMD or Nvidia. I asked Andrew Hahn at CES a few times, like, will you ever make an AMD graphics card? No, never, 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 never. Will you ever make an AMD motherboard? Never, never, never. So we know the AMD motherboard thing turned out. But the reasoning he kept stating was he didn't want to betray the relationship with Nvidia by making another brand. And that's when we were so shocked by that. It made no sense. I think Steve even used the term Stockholm Syndrome to Andrew's face. Mm-hmm. He was like, hey, this sounds an awful lot like Stockholm Syndrome. What loyalty do you have to Nvidia if you're breaking this on the principle of them breaking their own loyalty to you and being disrespectful and not having any respect for your own business and the way it runs and controlling every aspect of the graphics division to be truthful. When you work with Nvidia, they run your department. And it's actually kind of sad because there's probably an actual, I'm not sure they would fall under quote unquote like a contractor base. But I can tell you right now, there's probably some both legal and ethical lines that are crossed every day when you work with Nvidia. So it's weird. EVGA comes out with their own chip. Man, if I walked around thinking some of the stuff that people think, the world would be a brighter place. No, you can't just come out with your own chip. EVGA doesn't design chips.
Look how long
they
it took
design
Intel.
boards. They design boards.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, they don't do the dies.
No, they don't do the RAM either. They just designed the board.
They don't even manufacture it, right?
I think there's 2 manufacturers in all of like Asia.
But they get the actual die from Nvidia already done, right? And then
so the way it works,
implement it on.
So the way it works with the AIBs is they purchase the actual GPU.
Yeah.
Like you saw in the little plaque thing over there. It's all unsoldered, little pins everywhere, right? They purchase that. The schematic at which it operates,
right,
is part of the design.
Yeah, like this is the power that it needs. This is the stuff.
The reference design.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like these are the interconnects that you have to use.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Then they design their own PCB and such, and then they have another manufacturer, actually build it for them.
Yeah. I'm
not sure who it is. I think they mentioned. I can't remember who it was, but
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I left that meeting and I told my wife when I got home. I said, "Why do I feel like I just went through a bad breakup?"
Yeah.
Like it was draining.
Yeah.
But like I said, the meeting ran over 3 hours long. I think it was slated for an hour. It ran over 3 hours long.
Definitely felt like I told my friends, like, dude, it's like when your parents are like,
wait,
so
people are saying Nvidia stocks have dropped today. Can you look it up?
Really?
People are. I have to wonder if this news actually affects their stock. Here's the thing: if Nvidia stock drops 5 points, 10 points, it's still not going to make a difference.
Or could it be the
Ethereum
it's probably F
proof
going
of stake?
Proof of stake more than
I don't think because it's 324. Yeah, trading's already stopped on the East Coast because remember all trading takes place
it went up today.
Yeah, it went up
2.69.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm minimizing chat again. Okay, there we go.
Good job, guys. You got put on timeout again.
Anyway, that's all I want to talk about with that. Go watch Steve's video. Go watch my video. Go check out John Petty Research's stuff. Those are the 3 perspectives you're going to get. So anyway, I'm also not drinking. Actually, this is all vodka.
So we're 2 out of 3. The people with the JayzTwoCents shirts are drinking.
I was running around all day today. I only got into the office, an hour before the show?
Yeah.
So I'm tired. I don't feel like drinking when I'm tired. Otherwise, I'll just be face down on the keyboard and you're just going to hear... because I will have hit all the buttons with my face.
Oh, geez.
I did not expect that.
I fat palmed it.
Cheers to the Hydro homies there. Okay, so in lighter news...
You foamed it up.
Nah, it's fine. It's
Beer
fine.
noob.
It's out in the corner, bro. It's
fine.
It's okay. It's just Corona.
Yeah, it's fine. Exactly. Yeah. We're over it already. It's 2022.
Oh.
So, in lighter news, as opposed to a beloved manufacturer of GPUs no longer doing that. Top Gun Maverick was dope.
Welcome to the start
right?
of summer.
Yeah, I know, right? You know what? I didn't want summer to end yet, so I decided to finally watch Top Gun Maverick. And
Are there any spoilers in this topic? I've seen the movie.
I've seen it.
We've all
Okay,
seen it,
but
yeah.
but it's still soon enough to where I think we're
No,
not.
I
We're,
don't
I was
think
gonna,
so.
okay, because we're not past statute of limitations on spoilers.
Yeah,
yet.
no. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not gonna talk about the spoilers. I just wanted to I just seeing the amount of effort that they took to capture like the right effects practically, you know what I mean? Like stuff that you really can't fake with CGI, like the G-forces in the seat and that stuff, like the way it affects the actor's face and like their body, and you can see them moving around whenever the jet's like flipping upside down and stuff. I love that they did that practically, and I told you when I first finished watching
For those that
it,
don't know, practically means they really did it. It's not fake.
yeah, they went and took 2-seater F-18s, and then
The rear seat was just made to look like they were the pilot.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's I was saying like, oh yeah, and then they just have to act like they're flying, which
No,
is
they don't.
pretty easy to like. You don't have to act when you're getting thrown around
Yeah.
with 5, 6, 10 Gs. But yeah, I was watching, and I told you after I finished it that it seemed like this is a movie that like no one's gonna make this way anymore.
Yeah.
No one's
Well,
gonna actually.
the only reason that movie could exist is because Tom Cruise funded it
Right.
with his own insurance company and everything as well.
Yeah, like
Tom
Tom
Cruise
Cruise-
has to insure himself.
because he's too crazy for normal insurance companies.
Normal
They're like,
insurance
no.
carriers will not cover him because he does most of his own stunts, his own driving. He was the one even flying a P-51 at the end.
Yeah, because it's his plane.
Yeah.
It's actually his plane. But I think it was one of the I think it was the Mission Impossible where he does the barrel roll in the helicopter. That was like the breaking point for the insurance company, and they were like, "No," and he's like, "What do you mean, no? No."
Yeah.
Fine, I'll do it myself. Puts infinity stones of insurance on and like goes and does it, right? But yeah, like I was watching this movie and I was kind of like a little bit sad because I was just like, I feel like this type of stuff is just like it's another end of an era, right? Like no one's gonna bother doing this because it's just so much safer to do in CG, let alone easier, you know what I mean, for the production. It's like you don't have to go hire an aircraft carrier and pay like what is it, like $36,000 per flight hour to film a jet, plus the camera jet. Like
I remember I had tweeted something after I saw the movie, and one of my followers said that I guess a relative of theirs or a friend actually worked for that squadron. Is in the Navy, and that particular squadron was
That's
like
dope.
what was contracted to, with their planes and stuff. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, because they can't just have, keep randomly filming different people. They have to like, okay, these are the moves, they're going to plan them out. It's going to take a lot of time to get used to. And they, I know the actors were saying they were living on the carrier with the sailors and everything too, and they were like one of the ones was like saying like, yeah, we ate their food, you know what I mean? We got to know them. Like we were all friends after the movie, because it's the only way you can do that sort of stuff is just embed the actors in the thing.
Can you imagine? How's that conversation go? We'd like to rent one U.S. aircraft carrier.
I know, right? It's just like, do you got any discounts?
with all 4,000 crewmates.
You got any
Or
coupons
shipmates.
for that?
You guys got games on your plane? Like seriously.
Oh yeah, and we also want the full flight squadron to go with it.
I know, right? Dude, that's so crazy. Yeah, and I was just like, not only was it such a well shot, the effects work was amazing. You know what I mean? The CG work blended perfectly with all the practical stuff. It was actually an amazingly fun movie, and that kind of got me thinking too. I was like, when was the last time that I really had?
There was a few times I was kind of like, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
but I mean that's
then it's a summer blockbuster action.
And
movie,
basically,
right?
it's at the start when he's doing the test. If you know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
he's like, no,
Yeah.
no.
But at the same time, I was like, dude, this is sweet. Like,
Yeah.
where is it? Where else is this going? Like,
Actually, I had my tub of popcorn. No, no,
shooting out.
that wouldn't happen. That's not real.
Yeah, and I was just like, but yeah, like I don't remember. I mean, I think honestly, Pacific Rim was probably the last one like that style of action movie. John Wick was another one, the first one. But like that's more of like a like a fighting action movie, not like a giant machines of cool stuff.
Yeah, because like John Wick, that's all practical like movements he's doing.
I think it's in the same vein of like if you want it to look good, you do it for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what's his face? John Wick. I mean Keanu Reeves.
No, that is John Wick.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like you saw the BTS of him doing all the 3-gun training and everything, and all those like those practical shooting. The dude his movements look real because he's practiced them and he's done them with real guns and stuff.
It's not a stunt double.
Yeah, just like the pilots.
And then they use a little bit of Hollywood trickery with like frame rate and obviously speeding it up slightly.
Right.
You know, but yeah, all the movements of like the gun handling, the pulling stuff out of his back pocket, and all the moves and the kicks. That's all him. You know?
And I like
to think that he went from like whoa, Bill and Ted to that, you know.
and the ammo count too, right? You don't have like 30-round pistol magazines and
this is a ghost gun. 30-round magazine clip. 30 caliber round magazine clip.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Oh, stop.
Jeez. But yeah, like it's like it kind of is a little bit of the Top Gun Mavericks like theme too, is that real pilots and real jets being replaced by drones.
Yeah,
it's almost like an allegory for the FX world too.
Well, that was part of the premise of that movie too.
It's kind of
again
like
spoiler free, but I mean it's about there's drone talk. You know,
which is also happening IRL.
Yeah,
like why risk a person? Like it does make logical sense, but also.
But you know what though, I'm gonna move into a weird part of this discussion. If we're talking about war.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What damage are you really inflicting if you have there's no human loss? Now let me explain before people start saying Jay wants human loss
Jay
wars.
Mussolini over here.
Juicellini. Jaycellini. No, I'm just saying like wars inevitably always end up taking place in civilization areas, not battlefields, because of the fact that it's about inflicting as much damage on the other country's ecosystem, economic system, society as a whole. So targeting other military like units has a certain effect, but then obviously you see this indiscriminate bombing and stuff.
Right.
If it's all robots and drones happening, and this is doing this with now, like that doesn't seem like a war anyone would necessarily win or even.
Right, yeah. Like you send your squadron of drones out to fight another
squadron of drones. We just got to load up some new drones and go. You know, it's like because here's the thing: what made like our world's war histories, like World War I, World War II, Korea, and all that sort of stuff, so devastating was the fact that you can't. Like you lose a pilot that's been flying for 10 or 15 years in the military. You can't just replace that pilot like that. Mm-hmm. With a drone, I guess you technically kind of could, but there's the whole training and ramping up of skill that is not just immediately replaceable. That's why in World War II, like kamikaze pilots, that was like their only flight, literally. And so many of them crashed on takeoff because they had no flight experience. It was literally like, here's a photo of a ship, here's a silhouette, go to it, crash on it. And they were carrying a bomb underneath, and it was the bomb that exploded, not the plane. Some people don't understand that. But yeah, it's just like, so if you now are literally having a war being fought over in this part of the world, and you've got these Air Force pilots that are sitting there using, an Xbox controller. Yes, I know it's more complicated than that. And they're in Nevada, and they go home at the end of the day.
It's almost like it makes the fighting inconsequential for either side.
But it also takes out the human element where you're not going to question, am I going to pull this trigger because there's a life in front of me.
Right.
But you still have to take into account the collateral damage, like of civilian life if they're in that area,
That's a given with any war.
Yeah, but I mean, I think this comes out of the theory, or not theory. I've seen it in a couple movies. They call it like proxy wars, though, where it's just endless because they're just robots fighting each other. But the only people losing.
That's not the definition of a proxy war. A proxy war is what's happening in Ukraine right now, technically. The West is supplying Ukraine with the weapons so they can continue fighting, but the West is not directly in the war. Okay. That's a proxy war.
Wrong definition, then. It was basically just using machines, but it made an endless war because they kept throwing machines at it.
Well, the first one to run out of machines loses, right? It's like chess, literally.
But then it's like, yeah, because you didn't, like, there was no loss of life. It's like, is the losing country even going to, like, accept that loss and be like, okay, fine, here's your land, you can have it? Because it's like, no,
because then it will devolve into traditional warfare.
Oh, right, exactly. So there's always still going to be a human element. It's just the robots are going to be the first line.
Yeah, yeah, because
so
because there still has to be a quote unquote boots on the ground,
right?
No matter what,
because it's almost like the country wouldn't care if it was only robots, because it was just like, okay, cool, like we could lose as many robots, we can keep making them. It doesn't really matter
if it stopped with the robots.
Yeah.
That opens up days of discussion of ethics.
Yeah,
obviously, right
of
there.
course. Yeah, obviously. How did we end up back on AI and robots fighting it?
Because we were talking about the drone warfare.
Freaking Top Gun.
Yeah.
God, he's such a
Way to be a
maverick.
depressing, Phil.
Dude.
Yeah, you tried to make it a light topic. We got
It
heavy
was
again.
fun. Fighter jets are cool. And then Jay was just like, hey, what if robots killed people
No, I said robots killing robots.
to get to the people?
I feel like if to kind of to put a cap on that.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was it's just robots versus robots, people would be faster to go to war, which is bad.
Yeah. Oh, and also like private military would be all over that.
Because what is the number one reason people protest any war? It's the loss of life.
Yeah.
Whether on both sides, whether military or civilian life. That's the number one reason that anyone would oppose a war is the life loss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is like the most important reason, obviously. But yeah, that's the thing. If you remove the human element, I feel like certain, I don't want to say factions, but I guess they would be factions in the future, would be quicker to go to war, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think the PMCs would definitely be all over that because it's just like, dude,
That's where you get to cash in.
Yeah. You know how
No,
quickly...
you know who wins are the robot manufacturers.
I was gonna say, you know how
Nvidia wins.
I was gonna say, you know
Nvidia
how quickly Boston Dynamics would just become their own army?
It's just an army of robot dogs.
Well, no, they would pull in Nvidia, and instead of just, you know how like they're making the FEs, right? They would just make the robots for themselves and then become an army. They wouldn't just sell the robots. If that suddenly becomes a huge advantage of you, it'd just be like,
I guess, yeah.
yeah, no, we're not selling to the U.S. Army anymore. We're talking about the Boston Dynamics Army.
Yeah, we're at PMC now.
Yeah, you got an army of robot dogs with like machine guns on top.
But then what do? They become mercenaries and just hire themselves out.
Exactly.
Right? But
And then you get Metal Gear Solid 4.
speaking of hiring yourself
Literally
out.
any Metal Gear.
Yeah, literally.
Speaking of hiring yourself out, I want to talk about what were your first jobs? What was your worst job and why? I don't know how much of this you have to add to the conversation, but
Wow.
no, you've had what,
Wow.
3 jobs?
He just says this job.
I like 4.
4. Okay. Excuse me.
Sorry.
And
Is that more than me?
what is your dream job? So, like for me, my first job, first official job where I had to like pay taxes and stuff, because I started working at the age of like 12,
Yeah.
right? But first official job where I had to pay taxes and have payroll and actually clock in and
Like paperwork stuff.
responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, I worked for the 91 Express lanes in Orange County. And that was when it was just the 91 Express lanes and it wasn't called the toll roads or anything yet. It was just the 91 Express lanes. It was like 2 lanes. And I worked customer service. That was kind of sucky. The
Service jobs.
any service job, but that one specifically, because people would call in while sitting in traffic being like, my tax dollars built that road and you're charging. And it's like, no, your tax dollars didn't build that road. It was actually built by the California Private Transportation Corporation, which is a privately owned company. They bought the land, they created the lanes. Well, if I buy a membership now, can I drive over the border thing? No, that's illegal. Yeah, it's just people only called in. Like I feel like the majority of the calls were people just sitting in traffic mad.
Yeah.
And they wanted to
see
yell.
a number and they're like, you know what? I'll yell at that number because
Yeah.
it's there and it says it.
That was my first job. I was 18, and I didn't stay there more than a few months because you guys know me. You rub me the wrong way, I'm going to clap back at you, and customer service and clapping back doesn't go well together.
Although I bet you it felt good.
Oh, yeah, it did. It did feel good. I'm a semi-truck. Can I use the lane? No. Why not? Because the third axle vehicle is not allowed into the fast lane, which you have to get into that lane. Therefore, you'll be breaking the law. So, CHP, there's 2 CHPs that monitor each direction of traffic. You will be pulled over and ticketed. Click. It's so much, you know.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, Ikea's in chat. He says, try the tax call center.
Oh no.
Oh no.
This one's for you, buddy. That's
or the DMV or any government service job. Any public-facing government service job.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the first 2 words are the problem there. Public facing.
Public-facing, yeah.
For
Meanwhile, I'm more public-facing than I've ever been.
Yeah, but we don't have to. We're not like it's not a service job.
I'm providing a service.
Directly.
I'm essential, okay?
Yeah, but the camera lens doesn't yell back at you.
Imagine.
The pixels do.
Suddenly the lens is like, hey, quit shilling.
Yeah.
You're such a shill. I saw a comment that said, how's Jay going to shill for EVGA and Nvidia in the same videos now?
I know.
Easy. He makes 2 separate videos now.
Yeah.
I wanted to respond with, do people still say shill? Wow, I thought that term like died back in 2020. No, like I haven't seen. Look, the audience goes through phases.
Yeah.
Everyone's a shill, or everyone's a fanboy, or everyone's an F boy. You know what the F is? You
Yeah.
know? Everyone's they just kind of go through these waves where they all just start like
The insult,
regurgitating
the
whatever
specific
someone
insult,
else is saying. Yeah, I guess we're going back to shill, or this guy's just really freaking slow
That's
versus
funny.
everyone else. But
That's hilarious.
well,
So-
all you guys shill for me all the time.
yeah.
You guys sell your time to me, so you guys are shills.
Well,
Okay, shill enabler.
I thought Shill was like more of like an advertiser, but I don't know. I
Well,
don't
let's
actually know
look up the
original-
official definition
Yeah,
while
I
you
know
tell
what a shill is.
While you tell me what your first job was, Phil.
Well, you never answered your dream job.
I have it.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty obvious,
I
right?
figured
No.
that's what it was.
You can always improve, right?
Yeah.
I've said this a million times. My dream job would be I am independently wealthy without needing any money from any of this.
Yeah.
So I can just be the most degaff person you've
was gonna
ever
be my
seen
answer, too.
on the channel.
My dream job is to literally be retired.
You guys think Steve at Gamers Nexus is a cynic? You ain't seen nothing.
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys
like this,
know.
This would be like turn this into just a purely
Turn
for
this
fun-
into how to basic of tech. Okay? That's my dream job right there. I don't need a dime. I do this for the pure pleasure of pissing people and companies off. Here's the crazy part. It would only work, and I see people all the time that are like, do it. That would only work if I didn't need YouTube monetization at all.
Yeah.
Because it would be instantly demonetized. I guarantee. If I could literally just not care whatsoever what anyone thinks, because we always have to walk a line, right? We're fair and we're balanced, but we have to walk a line.
Yeah.
There's a line. It's a courtesy line, both in business with the audience, the brands, and when a brand does something, we're going to call them out with the audience. There's people don't like hearing this, but it is possible to be a bad viewer, and and you can get called out for that. But if you just take away the line, and I don't care anymore.
God, that'd be fun.
I guarantee you would see the best content you've ever seen on YouTube.
Yep.
But that's not the world I live in.
Unfortunately.
The definition of shill says an accomplice of a hawker, gambler, or swindler who acts as an enthusiastic customer to entice or encourage others.
Oh,
So you're not even like a real
So we're not
customer.
chills for you unless I'm just like every day constantly posting on Twitter. Oh my God, JayzTwoCents is the best job I've ever had.
But technically, if you're being paid from him, you're not a shill. Shill is doing it for free, right?
no, an accomplice.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you would have. Yeah, he would definitely have to. Be
I guess
free.
you would then have to just.
I'm not gonna be a shill for free. That's the that defeats the whole point of the shill, right?
Well, then anyone that's
shilling.
ever called me an Nvidia shill, apparently I'm doing it for free because Nvidia has never paid us a dime. It's
Yeah.
like the one company,
Yeah,
the
ironically,
one company that has never, ever,
always cracks me up.
ever provided any sort of compensation or check or anything. And no, graphics cards to review, they're not payment people.
Yeah.
I cannot pay my rent with a 40 series. I cannot pay my rent with a 30 series. And then even if I do want to sell them, which we literally just had the first like quote unquote garage sale I've had in the 10 years I've been running this company, which is why that crap went back to such old era. The moment I do that, you can't sell that. That's for review. So it's like, it's whack-a-mole with what angry group pops up, you know? But no, so I used to be a shill in a Reno gambling club. So I guess that would be like a shameless promoter kind of a deal.
Yeah. It'd be like if you.
I have shame.
It'd be like if you were an EVGA fanboy, even if they made all crap. Basically, is like that's what they're saying. But obviously, it's not.
I guess
the case.
anyone that just I liked AMD during FX was a shill then.
I guess a shill is just a fanboy. It's just a newer term, yeah. Like somebody that's just completely.
No, I think a fanboy is capable is not really aware that they're a fanboy. To be honest, I think true fanboyism, they're not aware of it.
You're right. And a shill
It's
is aware. 'cause they're an
blind. It's
accomplice.
blind loyalty.
Yeah.
The brand can do no wrong. They are the best. That's it.
Yeah.
End of story. There's no discussion we had with that kind of person. A shill is knowing that they probably suck, but they're just
Getting paid for it.
they're getting paid to say whatever it takes to get people to believe that brand is great.
Yeah.
Now, if you say that's me and Nvidia, then you haven't been watching my videos.
Yeah. And also in video, where's our chat? If only, right?
So Apple users, nope. Apple fans,
Apple fanboys.
because
Yes.
Apple users and Apple fans are not the same people. Sometimes they are, but most of the time they're not. All three of us have Apple devices.
Yeah. I just looked right down. I was like, oh yeah, wait. Actually, yeah. Literally, all three of us have the same phone.
All right, back off the shill topic.
Okay, so anyway.
Because that's very subjective.
So what was my first job? It's always a great day here, Johnny Rockets, Route 66 Victoria Gardens.
Was that really your first job? I thought you
yeah.
had a job before that.
No, that was my first job. That was my job before I decided to do freelance video.
Your first job was food service at a restaurant.
Yeah.
See, fast food's one thing. You don't go into a fast food place and expect a stellar service, but you go to a sit down, you expect something.
And it was like I cite that job as the origin of all of my cynicism towards the human race.
What I love, and I'm going to ask
And it's
Phil,
not the coworkers, it's not the job, it's just the fact that I was exposed to the public.
remember, I told you I've refused to ever work food service because of the kind of customer my mom is.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I would not be able to.
I'm not grading. I'm not saying your mom's a bad customer.
No, it's just
you can say that.
No.
Yeah.
My mom is a great person.
Yeah.
But she is a terrible person to wait on for food. I don't think I've ever seen a meal come out right where she's concerned.
This has one too many sesame seeds.
And my mom's
on the bun.
and my mom's not the kind of person. No, my mom's not mean about it.
Yeah.
But
it's just
no.
picky.
She sets it down and she does the. Oh. And then she
Which
takes
makes me feel
no.
bad,
She takes
so
the
yeah.
fork and she like kind of looks under.
Yeah.
And then she does this and she goes.
I feel guilty right now. I feel like coming back for a 2-bite check back.
Like I said, I love my mom. I bought the woman a house, okay? But, and yes, there were some complaints about the house. Because there's no new construction is perfect. It's her job to tell me so I can get it fixed. But there was a lot in the first month because as any new house would be. But I feel like she, instead of saying something, she puts on such a sad outpouring of body language that she wants you to ask her, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just...
It's like
it's a little bit
like
overcooked.
Yeah. It's like a kind of a guilt trippy kind of thing. But then like...
No joke, there's been multiple times where we've gone out to eat and stuff, and all of us are done eating because she sent the food back twice or more.
Geez.
And then by the time it finally comes right, we're all waiting for her to eat because it took the entire time of eating for her to finally get a meal she liked.
Yeah.
As she's gotten older, it's not so bad. She doesn't go to restaurants nearly as much. But when my sister and I were growing up, it was like, put on your shoes, we're going to Sizzler. It's like, oh God.
It's like starting. You have to like mentally prepare for the for the battle that's gonna be at hand.
I just want to eat and go home.
That's so funny.
My
That's
mom,
not even
my
the
mom
worst
would
kind of
never.
customer that I ever dealt with though.
No, my mom would say I'm a complete full of shit right now. Okay, I'm just saying.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I honestly, I think it was just, I think the worst kind of customers I always hated was just people that refuse to be responsible for their little children, just wrecking the
That applies anywhere.
I know, but like I it's like that was the worst type of like, we were talking about that topic too, just inconsiderate people, right? Mm-hmm. Like not thinking about like what the effects of them or their kids, which you're supposed to be responsible for, are affecting everyone else, and it's just like I can't be a mediator for booth number 6 if booth number 5's kids are just pulling on the lady's hair and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like that's not part of my job. Now, neither is really friggin' cleaning crayon off like the window. That's not.
Well, maybe you guys shouldn't immediately hand crayons to the kids as they come in.
Maybe the parents should parent, and when they see that happening, be like, "Yo, you should not do that." But
you don't have any kids placemats.
I can't parent somebody else's kids, so
Sure you can.
I mean, not
you tried
legally.
Oh my God.
You tried it. It's like,
I'm not kidding. I've legit told other random kids I can't see any parents. I'm just sitting there doing something. Hey, knock that shit off, and they're like, and they go, and I'm like,
you said the S word.
I don't care. Their parents are gonna come all mad, and I'm like, I really don't care.
That's funny.
I really don't care.
So worst job, I would probably say I had a.
I didn't tell you my worst yet, but go ahead.
Oh yeah.
we need to hear about Nick's first.
First.
My first, like over the table or under the table?
Over. We said.
I don't know what you do under the table, mister.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think my first actual job where I started doing taxes and stuff was with you right after college. Yeah.
I remember that time.
Sucks. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I just have no idea how.
You know what?
There's
I remember when he came on too, because I was like, wait, I have to pay half his taxes? That sucks. Welcome to being an employer.
Wait, there's taxes now? Oh.
No. I was like, I knew you had to pay taxes. I didn't know they were also my responsibility.
That's funny.
So we both got surprises.
Realistically though, anyone that is in this chat and runs a business with employees knows whatever the employee's salary is the actual cost to you is double that. In terms of like insurance, liabilities, workers' comp insurance, taxes, and the payroll taxes that are responsible for your half, and then 'cause the taxes that you pay are only half of them here in the state, so I'm paying the other half. But that's the thing; it's like the actual costs to an employer is about double what you're getting.
Well.
Yeah, you could be making double that. Just write your angry letter, write your congressman, complain. I don't know what else to say.
It's gonna go right in the spam folder. I can see it already.
Everyone is always so like up in arms about the cost of healthcare. Have you ever looked at the cost of insurance? Like actually the cost of insurance. And I don't mean healthcare insurance and automotive insurance. I mean professional insurance, liability insurance, workers' comp, all that stuff. That is a racket right there. That is someone's getting rich and it ain't me because I'll tell you right now.
Just be like Tom Cruise, dude. Make your own.
I know that just reminded me of.
Right after I get my own P-51.
Yeah, and do all your own stunts.
You just have to hang out the airplane while it's taking off and do a barrel roll in a helicopter.
You gotta fall down the stairs again and then insure yourself. Dude, sorry, just random tangent, but yeah, Jay came into work. He was like, "Dude, I fell down the stairs last night." I was like. I think honestly, all of us were kind of amazed.
So no, it was like
like,
my heel. Like I stepped a little too far forward. I have carpeted stairs.
Yeah.
So I stepped a little bit too far forward, and my heel slipped. So I didn't fall forward. I fell like ass first, right? So you hear it do. Because I was literally on my butt going down the stairs, and each one was literally like a drop kick to the butt. God. I'm telling you, it sucked. And then I hit the tile.
Bruise?
There's a reason why I was walking weird for a week.
I was gonna say, did you actually have a bruise?
So there's tile at the bottom of the stairs. So it goes from carpeted with that memory foam carpet squish pad that I have to I was like,
and even the carpet still sucks to fall on.
No, what sucked is like when my butt hit the tile. My shoulder blades are what hit the last step. So that's why I was for like a week. I was like, I can't really move too well.
And it's not even like Jay's like super old, but it's like just anything after your 30s like that is like kind of genuinely like I might go to the hospital today.
Yeah. Well, everyone in my family has taken that same kind of fall at least once. And what I love is like because. Dude, prefab homes, like mass manufactured homes, like in a building environment, like a community environment, they are all pre-designed in a computer somewhere else. All the wood's pre-cut, the trusses and all that just show up and then people nailed together, right? It's technically prefab, but it's not like a mobile home like people might be thinking in the terms of prefab. They're not.
It's like an AIB home.
They're not the quietest, right? You hear the walking of people walking upstairs. There's no foam or anything between the stories to quiet it down. The stairs, if someone goes down, you hear do 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 do. What I love is I'll be sitting there in the living room like watching TV, and I just hear. I look over. Who just fell? And I hear my wife sometimes like, me. You okay? Yeah. and then
what? So much more attention.
No,
to your
I knew when my
movie.
youngest. Well, there's a landing and you have to turn. So people sometimes will swing off the landing or hold onto the little railing and they swing themselves right off the stairs. But
Parkour.
But no, my youngest when she fell, she's 8, well about to turn 8. She was like 5 or 6. But it was right here. You can tell it was her because it was instead of it was. So I hear.
All quiet.
I hear. And I look, and she's on the landing. She's like, she's all like twisted. I'm like, oh God, are you okay? She's like, I fell down the stairs.
the way she cried just reminded me. Hold on, I gotta tell the story to the crowd because so one time at that restaurant job, we have to make these ketchup smiley faces with these little squeeze bottles, right? So this wasn't me, thankfully.
Oh, I remember those because I took my daughter there all the time.
Yeah. And then so like this was one of my coworkers, and he went to draw a ketchup smiley face, and then there was like a baby sitting kind of right under where he was with the little cup and the ketchup bottle, and the top of the bottle wasn't secured. So he squeezes it to start to make the first eye on the face. The top just pops off and the whole bottle of ketchup just squirts onto the baby's face because the baby's looking up at him like, oh, what's he doing? That's crazy. What's this red bottle? And it just goes on the baby. I'm walking past and I just hear and the baby just slowly turns to his parents, like complete face of ketchup, just starts slowly
It was like a
crying.
murder scene.
Dude, I had to run straight to the back of the house just to like lose it. My friends were like, what happened out there? I'm like, dude, look at table 7, the baby. I couldn't even get the story out to my friends. It was so funny. Anyway, that reminded me of that story. So now you guys know. And no, I'm not going to say the name of the people. You got to keep them innocent and anonymous.
Yeah. It's like I said, but I think everyone's learned their lesson, including myself. I take the stairs very differently. Because
that's why I said-
anyone that lives in a house at second story, you run down the stairs. Like, even in the dark.
Because you're so used to it, and your brain is just like, okay, I know these stairs.
Well, I think I
now.
told you this story once at my old house, coming down the stairs. Like, you have it in your head. You know how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're at the bottom, right? I miscounted by one time, and I was like, so like I stepped what I thought was the floor, and I was like, suddenly going really far forward, and I fell. Like, you know how a skateboarder knows how to fall and slide on their knees because they have knee pads? I did that on the tile with my kneecaps. No, the weirdest part is you could just hear the plop plop of the knee, like the fleshy knees on tile. And I was like sitting there, kind of like sitting on my knees, and I was like, wait for the pain. I'm a stunt man. Nothing hurt. Like, I was so confused. I was like, I hurt myself so bad it went back around to no pain.
That's so funny.
You know, but no, I got up and I was like, my knees are red, but I don't feel anything. And that was kind of an eye-opening moment. Like, always make sure you're stepping off the step onto the floor when you think it's the floor. But that was one of those, the lights were off and I didn't turn on the lights and I'm waking one up and I was just like going down the stairs on a muscle memory and I miscounted by one.
Like that. It's funny because even on the way up, you still get like a half heart attack if you think there's one more step at the top.
No, what sucks is when your toe slips off. When you're running up the stairs and you get the whole like foot, like everything gets out of time, and so you just kind of go like knees on the stairs, and then you
my
face
apartment's on the
plant.
first floor, and we don't have multiple floors.
So when are you
nice
gonna
nut.
put the lights for your stairs then? Like the little side lighting for each step so you can see it at night?
No, it's just every time you go up and down the stairs, it's literally you take your life in your own hands.
Yeah,
You should just make it a slide at that point.
that's why he has to make his own insurance
You're
company.
gonna see me
because
get one of those
stairs.
motorized chairs with the rail goes up around.
Jay's
the corner.
Two Stairs Incorporated.
But you know,
insurance company.
I would overclock the crap out of that thing.
I'd be down to ride.
If it doesn't
Stairs?
launch me into my room, no, the chair, the power lift chair.
Oh, the chair, yeah.
If it doesn't launch me into my room when it hits the end
Why
of the
did I
track,
think you were gonna replace your stairs with an escalator that's like going 30 miles?
hey, I mean, why not?
Dude,
A man can dream.
it could also get blended by it, dude.
What was your worst job?
Honestly, that's a tie between the paintball shop job and the motorsports job.
But those were like your only other two jobs. So
I know, but they're both
At least it's
customer
not this one.
service.
This YouTube channel that I have to work at.
I have to wonder, would Nick say it? Would he say it
Even
if
if
he
it
felt
was
that
true,
way?
like even if it was true.
I would. I'll let you know.
Not like in public.
Not in public.
That sounds like a challenge.
Oh my god.
Well, no, I mean, your problem with motorsports division, I thought, though, was not as much the employee or the customers as it was just the management.
The lack of training that
The lack of training while the
jumping.
exponential increase in responsibility.
But I think
Nick, you're the captain now. I'm the captain now. You're the captain now. Where's captain school? No, you're the captain now.
just be like, let me drive the boat.
Jeez.
I want to drive the boat.
You have to just wing it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was okay. So if we had to do it that way, it would be the motorsports job was by far the worst because I that was also when I learned like I basically sold myself to the company. I put way
Chill.
Yeah. I put in.
No, he's only show if he says it was a good experience to everyone to get them to hire.
I put in more time than I should have.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You know what's
Oh, so you learned the lesson of like the company really doesn't care about me, even though I'm.
But
putting in all
that's
this
an
extra
that's
stuff.
an employer problem.
Yeah.
Brian and I talk about this all the time. I think just about anybody in chat right now would agree. Nobody goes to work and gives 100%. Nobody. Because very little.
Well, no, when you're young and dumb like me and Nick did,
Yeah.
me and Nick were, you do.
But
And then,
no,
and
My
then you
problem
learn
was
that
I
lesson.
liked that job because of what I was, or I got to be around.
But you didn't continue putting in that level of effort
towards the end,
because you realized finally they're not getting back what I'm putting in.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
it's a lesson you sometimes have to learn if you're too naive
Yeah.
like me and Nick.
Yeah.
I worked 10 years in the corporate world where I got back nothing that I put in. And then, by the time I left that good job, I was probably doing 45 minutes to an hour of real work a day. I'm not even
That's
kidding.
awesome.
bro.
No, I built this channel while working there.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. You could literally say that.
Yes.
Your time.
And do you
split
know
was
what they did when they found out I had this successful YouTube channel while I was still working there?
What?
They tried to start a whole new hey, we can make corporate videos now. And we can have Jay
my
do it. And it's like,
God.
they wanted to use my equipment.
Yeah, let's just add.
They wanted me to use my equipment on their time to make corporate videos for them.
So they wanted you to have another person's job while not paying you for that job, basically.
I was already doing 3 people's job.
Yeah, exactly. That's usually how that story goes, right? You end up being good at something, and they're like, oh, he can do that now, and we don't have to pay him.
Oh, and that's also I mentioned quiet quitting. You know, everyone needs to stop with these stupid buzzwords. You can call it whatever you want. It's the way the workforce has been as long as the workforce has been around.
Yeah.
Quiet quitting, quiet firing. It's just stop with the buzz terms because it doesn't mean anything. Most employers, and that's why people get so anti-corporate, do not look at the employee as a valuable asset to the company. They look at the employee as a liability. Right. Can this warm body, for what we pay them, provide enough return on what we're paying them? And they know, they know people, especially desk jobs, they know they're not working. When the boss walks by, they're looking busy, but they're probably only getting maybe 5 hours of real work a week. They know that. So that's why it creates this dynamic of this back and forth of, okay, well, they're not working hard, so I'm not going to pay them more. Well, they're not paying me more, so I'm not going to work hard. So you get this terrible dynamic where instead of an employer just communicated, told people hey, we value you. Here's a raise without asking for one. Hey, times are tough. Cost of living's gone up. Here's more money. We want you to stick around. You would get so much more return out of that kind of employee. Mm-hmm. And that only exists usually in small business because here's the reality. Small business, every person has more weight on their shoulders in a small business.
And you're faced with the humanity of everyone there way more than
true.
You're not looking at a spreadsheet.
You got a 5,000 employee company. You're not going to know who Joe Blow is in the mailroom, and you're not going to care.
You're just looking at some pixels on a screen that says Nick. You're not looking Nick in the face and saying you're not worth it.
You're a number. You're not a face.
Yeah.
But at least at the
they probably don't even know your number.
Yeah.
They probably
it's just this department, right? Yeah. It's just the motorsports division.
They probably do when they saw the revenue coming out of it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But every big company started as a small company, and at some point, I think that they had that level of appreciation for their employees, but eventually it grows beyond that personal level. And I mean, Brian and I talk about this all the time. I try very hard not to be the type of employer that I had.
Right.
That sucked a lot, but I think that's a two-way road when it comes to, I feel like if you're the kind of employee that's hey, I'm showing up every day, I'm showing up early, I'm doing my work, I'm meeting my goals, I'm exceeding my goals, but the employer doesn't recognize it even when you have to, what? I think the first sign of having an employer that's a non-recognizer is if you have to present to them the successes you brought.
Yeah.
If they don't come to you and say, hey, you're kicking ass, are you happy here? What can we do? Hey, this is amazing. What can we do to make sure this stays? Here's more money, whatever it may be. If an employer has never come to you and had that conversation, and you've always had to go to them and ask for raises or reviews or whatever, that employer does not value you, period. That's end of story. There's no discussion there. And if you're in this chat right now and you're the kind of employer that you go, hey, they're doing so much work, but you know what? They're not asking for more. So let's just kind of keep quiet and not say anything. You're a terrible employer. Absolutely. End of the day, you are the worst kind of employer because you create that dynamic of the employer is going to stop putting in because you're not putting back. So my soapbox TED Talk is over about being a good employer.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
But this whole discussion about everyone has a worse job. And you know what's funny? Most of the time, I've had this discussion with so many people.
It's almost always the same story, huh?
It's almost always the same story. It wasn't the job. It was the people they worked for.
Yep, that was exactly what I was going to say for mine, too. It was just the workplace environment became toxic because of, that sort of non-recognition type stuff. And then it was just I felt like my time wasn't being respected. And then so,
when you were doing airsmithing and stuff, were customers complaining it was taking too long?
Well, they understood. I was the only person in the shop. Most of the time.
But again, you started working for someone. It was under the table. We started working for someone. You were able to do more. And what happened? That guy took more advantage of you, right? The way you explained it all the time is you were opening for him. You were closing for him. You were the only one there half the time. That guy was absent half the time.
Well, yeah, it was he showed me the ropes and then he was basically hands off. And it's there's some cases where yo, I need a little bit more help. but most of the time the help was gone because help was doing other things.
And but wasn't he running some other business?
Well, yeah, he had his online store that he also ran in shop, but he was also manufacturing parts. So when he wasn't in the shop, he was out manufacturing the parts at his.
So for all intents and purposes, at that point, you were manager of the business while he wasn't there.
Technically, yeah.
If he was not there, it was a retail shop, brick and mortar. Customers walked in.
Yeah.
He was not there. You were manager of that shop. Did he ever talk to you about
paying you like a manager, basically?
No.
Yeah.
Did you ask?
No. It was.
See, it's a two-way road.
Yeah.
You got to stand up for yourself. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do that because this is why the whole quiet quitting thing and this is why the whole great resignation thing happened, because COVID taught people to go, you know what? As employees, we have a lot of power within this company. And so you have to be willing to now like stand up for your worth.
Yeah.
And because you never really did, I'm not saying it's all on you. It's a two-way road. Because you never stood up and said, hey, I thought I was just going to be here part-time doing this over here on the side and you're going to be here. You're not. I'm running this shop. I'm the only one in here. I'm responsible for everything in this store while you're not here. Don't you think I deserve more?
Yeah, I didn't realize that till like later on because right back then it's like, oh, first job, have to do all this stuff. I have to prove to him that I can do it.
That's a faux pas. Like, I don't know if that's the right word. That's a fallacy. You don't have to prove your worth. They hired you. You've already proved it. You're working there.
Yeah.
You have to prove they didn't make a mistake, but you don't have to prove that you're worthy of maintaining your job.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like if they hired you, they are,
and that's a good life lesson to learn. And ideally earlier than than later.
If they hired you, you've already proved you're the man for that job. Now, as an employer or an employee, I want to prove, hey, I'm worthy of more than this. I want to move up. I want to have more responsibility. I want to do more. I want to know my body being here is contributing directly to the success of the company. And as a result, I expect for that to be recognized and compensated.
Right.
Most of the time, that's not the way it goes.
The first half happens.
The first half happens.
Yeah.
But the moment you stop giving that extra, they notice. And then employers call it out.
Yeah.
Hey, we notice you're not really in it anymore. Well, what do you mean? Well, you know, you used to show up early and stuff. Now you're showing up like right on time. And this is a real conversation I've had with an employer, by the way.
Oh no, dude, my eyebrow was like twitching.
Yeah,
as
and
you
it's
were
like
saying that.
it's like, well, what do we? Well, you know, we just feel like maybe your heart's not in it anymore. Is there something wrong? And that's what I told my employer what was wrong. Like, I'll tell you what's wrong. You guys are taking advantage of me.
It seems like your paycheck's not in it anymore. It's weird. It's like I
it's
wonder
funny.
what happened to that bonus that you said you were.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
That's funny.
I can't even begin to tell you.
I could only imagine, dude. I'm so glad I've never worked like corporate anything because the public was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there becomes a point too where as an employer, I mean, this is full transparent. I'm asking the questions. So I expect you guys to answer publicly. How many times have I come to you guys and we've just sat down and been like, hey, how you feeling about things? Anything you need to change? Or how many times has Brian approached you?
Yeah.
How many times? Because I know sometimes you're not comfortable talking directly to the owner or the boss, right? So Brian will come to you guys and be like, hey, anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to change? You know, are you not happy with something? That conversation happens
Pretty regularly, actually.
Right.
Yeah. I think I want to say like now that I think about it, it's probably like twice a quarter or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like every month and a half.
And how many times have I taken you guys aside and out of the blue and been like, hey, you're getting a raise. Here's your new pay. Oh, and you were like the most recent one. You're like, okay. But I told you direct, and I've told you the same thing. I'm like, we value you guys. Yours and mine tends to happen a lot in the car. We're driving somewhere or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I take you aside because you don't go out. You're antisocial.
Yeah.
I'll take you outside.
I wear my antisocial social club shirt unironically, unlike 99% of people that own that shirt.
Like the most recent one, I think we were outside and you were vaping. I'm like, hey, you're doing a great job. I want you to have more money. Here's your new pay, and here's your new bonus. Here's your new bonus structure. And you were like, sick.
I can see Phil doing that.
No, exactly. That's why people were like, oh, is it really a dream job? I'm like, I mean, like if I was more comfortable discussing that stuff, then yeah.
But no, I'm not tuning my own horn. I'm trying to inspire other small business owners that I know are in this chat. There's 4,000 people in here. Someone in here is a small business owner going, how do I keep my employees happy? I hope they're thinking that. You do something I can't do because I don't have the time to do it. You do something that I can't do, again, because you have more expertise in that area. I'm able to take creative design vision and give it to you, and you've absorbed that and added your own flavor to it and made that work.
It's like a CPU and a GPU.
Yes.
Like literally, like you tell me what to do, and then I can.
But if the success of this company is a platform, every single one of us are a pillar.
Yeah.
But it's a pillar that's structured in a way. If one of those pillars falls, the platform will not stay upright. And I treat the business that way. And I just wish on even a large scale, big companies treated their employees that way. That's why I say all the time, like, especially when we talk about the idea of corporate and capitalism. I'm like, everyone in this chat has benefited from capitalism, but obviously not as much as the owners of the companies that are benefiting the most from capitalism.
Yeah.
But I also believe in, work freedom. California is an at-will state. You guys can leave for any reason you want. At the same time, the employer can fire you for any reason that you want.
Yep.
You can still have wrongful termination. Just because I can because it's non-contractual, I could say, Nick, you're fired right now. And you could literally go to a lawyer and be like, he fired me for no reason. And then they can be like, okay, well, that's wrongful termination because he has the right to fire you. It means you can't go there anymore, but it doesn't have the right to say that you don't have a right to compensation for now loss of wages for the fact that you weren't fired for a valid reason.
Right.
That's what at will means. And a lot of people don't understand that. But no, I especially right now with the whole quiet quitting and quiet firing, because quiet firing is another thing. What do they mean by quiet quitting? Basically saying, I quit my job. I'm just going to surf YouTube all day, whatever, until they fire me. That's quiet quitting. And people do that because...
Oh, you know what? I have been, now that I think about it, sorry, quiet firing is, I think I did get quiet fired, actually.
Yeah, quiet fired says, I'm just going to change this person's day-to-day, the way I'm going to make this person so uncomfortable here, they're going to quit.
Oh, okay. So what happened to me was that I started getting less and less shifts scheduled until one week.
They're squeezing you out by going, you can't afford to work there because you can't survive on the income.
Yeah, and then until 1 week, I literally got 1 day, and I was like, I was working 5 days a week. What the heck happened?
That's a quiet firing, no doubt.
Yeah, and then they were just like, well, why didn't you try the Chino Hills branch? And I was like,
because you work at the...
yeah. And then you know what? Everyone at the Chino Hills branch was way more awesome. Screw you, Victoria Garden.
Yeah.
Chino Hills people are so cool. Dude. I met so many like dope friends out there. Yeah. So anyway,
it's just depressing. And
I got fired, and I didn't even realize it.
The corporation I worked for, there was times I was the #1 salesman in the company when I was doing direct business sales of our software. I made tons. So they restructured the bonus program to make less.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I ended up having major surgery that put me out of work for about a month. Do you know what they did when I came back? They took away all of the commission and put me on minimum wage.
Jeez.
So you're doing the same work. That was a quiet firing attempt. Right. And I survived. I actually outlasted that VP. But no, that was a quiet firing attempt.
Dang.
And it's weird that we ended up on this topic because I think it applies to anyone in this chat, honestly. My piece of advice, I think, to anyone that's feeling like they're being quiet fired, call them out on it.
Know your worth.
Know your worth. But it's hard.
That was the lesson. That was the biggest lesson I feel like I learned through my crap job.
Well, here's the problem. Employers, for the most part, have groomed their employees to be afraid to talk to them. If you've ever wanted to go to your boss and ask for a raise, have you ever gone to your boss just to ask for a simple day off and you get nervous and you get that lump in your throat and you start shaking?
Yeah.
Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid to talk to your boss? It's because they groomed you to feel like you are on the edge. You're on the edge of being fired. And by being fired, you're going to lose everything. You can't pay your rent. You can't pay your car payment. You can't pay your gas because guess what? It's hard to find a job out there. You need to be here. That's the way so many employers have groomed.
That's like textbook exactly what I went through, yeah.
Yeah, but if you've ever been afraid to talk to your boss, like not for something simple, like you had to go to the wedding, you went, hey Jay, I need blah 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 date off. Okay, cool. All right, and you wrote it on the calendar. And that was it, right?
Yeah.
But no, if you had to go when you were working at Nissan Motorsports, if you had to go and be like, shit, you walk by the boss's office 3 times because you're working up the nerve to make the turn into it.
A, they weren't there. B, they're out. C, they're probably still avoiding me somewhere.
D, they were there, but they were kind of looking mad at something on their desk, so I didn't go in.
G, they only show up when I'm doing nothing.
Jeez.
If you've ever gone into the boss's office and hey, you got a second? And they just get, I'm going to do my best Joe impression because that was his voice. Yeah, sit down. and you're sitting there waiting, and you're sitting there, and there's if you're sitting there waiting to talk to them, they make you wait 2, 3, 5 minutes while they're finishing something,
slowly typing away an email. Yeah.
And then no, I'm not, dude. I hope Brian's watching the show right now because Brian's literally talked me off the ledge so many times of not quitting, of going postal. Okay, where,
dude.
So
corporate.
It's not even funny to joke about, but you know the joke. So sitting there, and then he would go, yeah, sit down. sit there waiting, and you start reading his plaques. It's like before the smartphone, you read the labels on anything in the bathroom, right? So I'm doing that around the office. Yeah.
Oh, vapor distilled.
But you've read it 20 times already, you know?
You still act like you're surprised.
But this would be the body language. If you have I hope somebody if you have a boss like this in chat, please say, "Oh my God, that's my boss." You're sitting there, you're waiting, he's doing his thing, making it very known. You are waiting for him to be ready to talk to you, or her to be talking to you. My boss would do this thing. He'd be sitting there. So what do you need? Arms folded, leaning back, the whole deal. Power. No, it's a power move.
As if it's like physically painful and you're just annoying the crap out of him just by existing there in the room. Yeah.
Absolutely a power move.
Yeah.
And it'd be, what do you need? And it would usually be a problem. Something I had like a problem I have with someone in the company, more often than not, and being him, that I would talk to directly about him, and he didn't like that. But at the end of the day, this particular VP, he was a VP of operations, and I worked directly under him because he also oversaw the sales department. I could get away with murder by the end of my tenure there because I called him out on his BS so many times. And he was the kind of guy, I don't know if it's a cultural thing. We talked about it before. He was Cantonese. He was Cantonese, very strict, the strictest boss I'd ever worked for. But when I finally got over the lump in the throat and you have shaky hands and you're trying to talk to me, like, I was wondering if, you get the swallow and you're just all scared, you're all shaky, but you're trying to talk to him, Once I got over that and realized, like, you know what? Screw this. I'm tired of being this kind of employee.
Yeah, like, what's the worst that can happen? Right.
I had called him out on back pay I was owed because I was actually being, so with the way some of the California laws went, I was being underpaid both mileage, because I was using my own vehicle to do this. They were paying me a mileage that was under the state requirement. There's a federal and a state requirement of mileage reimbursement. So it's like, if you're going to pay mileage reimbursement, you had to pay a minimum of so many cents per mile. So they were under that for like 2 years. And I went in and I called him out on it. And it was one of those things where he was just like, "We'll have to talk to accounting about that, blah, blah, blah. But, we don't even have to pay you mileage, so you should be grateful." And literally turning it back to like, "Hey, how dare you demand what you're entitled to?"
That's the crux of it, right? You should be grateful that you're working for us kind of thing.
The funny thing was, it was like the next day, and our company controller, she came to me, and her name was Teresa. I'll never forget her. She was the coolest person in the company. I liked her, but she had no power in the company in terms of controller has to do with like finances, money, payroll, all that sort of stuff, not human resources. But I remember the next day, as I was walking in the office, she because her office faced the front, so she could see when people were walking in. She ran to the hallway. She's like, "Come here." And she sat me down. She shut the door, and I was like, "Oh God, what did I do?" She goes, "What did you say to Joe?" And I was like, "What?" She goes, "Yesterday, what did you say to Joe?" I was like, "I just showed him the laws and the fact that I was being underpaid." She's like, "Because now," she's like, "he's having to retribution pay everybody."
Oh, because he realized the gig was up, right, basically?
Yes, but she was like...
So you or you just like accidentally
I think they ended up having something like an extra 25 or 30,000 in payroll go out that week. Jeez. That was because it was like 2 years of retro pay.
Yeah, you were the only one to speak up.
Yeah. Nice. So that I mean, like I said, that's the kind of job where I had enough.
Yeah.
And I took all of those terrible experiences and tried to incorporate the opposite in the way I run this company. But it's hard sometimes, because sometimes you get so autopilot where things are going well, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, from the audience's perspective, it's just like, look at all this money Jay has, and I wish. But it's like, then you kind of go, wow, it's time to reevaluate. Not just everything, it's reevaluate all our expenditures and stuff, and let's just bring it all back into planet Earth on how we can better ourselves as a company. So this whole remodel thing was not just the fact that, like, I made that video and I said, I cannot work in this environment anymore.
Yeah.
It was, we cannot work in this environment anymore, because none of us like being out there. We all hated being in this room together because of the fact that this room got hot.
Yeah.
It was noisy. It was dirty. It was dusty. It just got ignored. And then now I think with the new room we built, like the vibe that I envisioned on like how are we going to interact with each other and interact with the building, is exactly like going in the path I wanted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's like fun to just be at your desk now, just because it's like so nice.
It's very chill.
wow, we really ate up some time there.
Yeah, we did.
I think you ate Nick's topic this time. Actually.
I mean, we can still go. I mean, it's probably short at this point.
Yeah.
But
You just gotta say it really
We
quickly.
still have a couple RTFM from the audience I want to get to.
the
too.
FTFA.
oh, so
Well, the first 25 minutes was EVGA, you know.
yeah,
yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
true.
It's
But
VGA's fault.
thanks, EVGA.
No, it's Nvidia's fault.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah.
Thanks, Nvidia.
No, actually, it's shared vault. Thanks, guys.
No, it's whoever made the
Gals.
leather for the jacket.
Oh my god.
It's the bobblehead's fault.
It's
Yeah, blame him.
it's the spatula's fault.
Anyways, I wanted to get into pre-ordering because apparently that's still a thing, and it really stuck out this week after they announced the new Modern Warfare. It's because
You mean the new redone Modern Warfare?
Yeah, Modern Warfare 2 too.
the reboot, like
Modern Warfare 2, the
Two
second
modern,
one.
Two modern, two warfare.
too hard. I like that, but I mean, like they said, pre-order you get play the campaign a week in advance kind of deal. I'm like, that doesn't even sound like a pre-order bonus. It just sounds like buying into early access as usual.
Well, we've talked about this before, especially with games. The idea about pre-ordering is let's get their money before they realize it's a complete crap.
Yeah.
You know, complete crap.
But I'm still kind of shocked because I'm sure people are going to pre-order anyways. Because
Of course they're going to,
yeah.
because they give you digital shinies.
Yeah, but digital shiny, at least like back in the day, like what Halo Reach, you got that cool statue if you got like a limited
Yeah,
edition.
or in World of Warcraft, you got a statue or the plaque or something. You got something physical
you got
for it.
something tangible, not like, oh, cool, you got a skin. You
Pre-order only existed because of the fact that you'd go to GameStop and they didn't have enough. And it was console stuff,
yeah.
you know?
Now that's carrying over to like Steam pre-order for a skin and that 7 day campaign. Like, when are we gonna see something like? Are we gonna see something tangible again, like statues, or is it all just
No.
done?
You know, I don't think you're going to see tangible stuff anymore in pre-orders.
Dude, even when there is tangible stuff, you saw Fallout 76, right? The canvas bag that turned out into like the cheapest freaking plastic bag ever.
Yeah.
It was like one of those it ended up being like one of those like packable like shopping bags, just super thin vinyl.
Wow.
But like what?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it would, like they advertised it as a canvas bag with like leather straps. I mean, I'm sure you saw like pictures of it and everything. It was supposed to be dope.
It's like a satchel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a real and then it freaking ended up
It's
being
not a man purse, it's a satchel.
Yeah.
It's from Hangover.
like I can't think of an
satchel.
example.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like pretty much just slightly like one level above a regular plastic shopping bag was like the bag quality. People were so pissed.
yeah. I mean,
like
well,
they can't even do tangible things right anymore.
so it depends. I think I'm a little bit conflicted on the idea of pre-ordering, only because PS5, Xbox, I mean Series X or whatever. There's no point because you can just
Download from
PC
store.
now. But
It's like,
I mean, you can play the same games on PC. It just through the Xbox app. Well, most of them anyway. But the thing is, like Steam Deck, right? Stuff like that. There was legitimate short. There was not enough to supply the demand. So pre-ordering that to that effect makes sense because it's kind of like
it's a physical good,
right?
Pre-ordering makes sense. for
But
physical.
again, almost everyone that got the first round of any of that stuff got a lot of defective stuff.
Yeah.
You know, PS5 had a lot of issues on the first runs. I think there were some Steam Decks that had some serious issues on the first ones that made their way out.
Valve did the let's hold some back for in case we need an army thing. They did that pretty good because
What I love is if you go to the Steam store and sort by most popular, Steam Deck is the top no matter how you sort it.
it's like they're like, oh, we did such a good job. We investigated ourselves and we're doing great.
I was playing Brian's Steam Deck at his house last weekend, and it's neat. I don't think
yeah.
I would personally buy one, but it was neat.
It's neat to see a gaming PC in that format.
I was playing Crash Bandicoot,
nice.
That's awesome.
and then I tried playing Phasmo on it. Very hard to play on a controller on Steam Deck. I tried it.
Yeah.
It took me about 2 minutes to figure out how to open up the door.
That's funny.
Because the problem is you have the thumb controller.
Yeah.
And then the interact button is like the A button under the stick.
Oh yeah.
So to open the door, you had to like go up to the door, push the A,
You guys
and
have to
then
realize
like
Jay never uses the controller for anything besides like Rocket League and like Flight Sim when he's lazy and like driving games.
yeah. But you had to like the right stick and the right button.
Yeah.
So you had to grab the door with A and then either like use your index finger to somehow
right. It's on a
or
toggle.
move the
Yeah, you're
other
right.
hand to move the door.
You got to do the claw grip.
You can remap on that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Probably. But I was just trying to see
Dude,
what
people
the
have
default.
WoW Classic mappings for it, like straight up with like crazy combo, like because the way Steam input is now, like You can do like a button combo that literally pops up a context menu for actions and stuff that you can bind. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's like pretty neat.
I got my email this week, so I'm excited.
But yes, pre-ordering should die.
Yeah,
because I mean, even
for games,
at least for games, because they're all digital at this
or
point.
give me something cool. I want like a Master Chief helmet that lights up that I can wear. You know, not just a little tiny mini.
But will
one.
you pay $350 for that game then?
I mean, if it wasn't 343 Industries,
Oh, okay.
and I really liked that game, yes.
Like legit, I was looking for when Cyberpunk was announced. I really wanted that limited edition before that statue because like it was pretty cool.
You would.
Yeah, my bad.
You're such like a statue, like model, like on your desk kind of nerd. But yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's
You do have a lot of statues and Gundams and stuff in your.
He's the
game
trinket
room.
guy. He's a resident trinket guy for sure.
Is that the new Resident Evil? Resident
Trinket.
Resident Trinket 6.
back in my day. Call of Duty had night vision goggles.
Yeah, that was okay. That like I would have pre-ordered for night vision goggles if I knew that was a thing and I made enough money to do it, dude. That's so cool.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the RTF or the FTFA, which is from the freaking audience. If you want to write us, and we might have time to get to your questions after weeks like this week.
Let's go OT. A little bit OT.
I don't. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Because Linus won't be on time anyway. You know, we always try to be done before the WAN show starts, but I think today, I don't know. Who knows? So you can write us at rtfm@JayzTwoCents.com. And we pick some good questions, and we think they'll make great discussion, we bring it in. Like, so for instance, Nathan from the Philippines, by the way, says, question for Jay. You made a recent video about the LTT screwdriver, and I was wondering if you will make a commercial clip using the LTT screwdriver just like what you did on the iFixit. And then there's a question for Phil, and then he has a comment for Nick.
You don't even get. You don't get to answer. It's just a comment.
Okay.
iFixit is a sponsor of ours. They pay us. Linus does not. So no, I will not make a commercial for his screwdriver.
Unless Linus did pay
unless you
us.
got
That OMG money, though.
That would be a weird dynamic.
I know, that would actually be interesting.
And before people
hilarious.
keep pointing it out, say, Jay, Linus made a short. Linus made a short. Yeah, they told me they were going to do that before they did it. He's not mad. He did it as a joke. Okay.
Although, I think that dynamic wouldn't be that weird because there's sometimes Linus ads that run before our videos anyway, like for his
Oh, the
videos.
Google served.
The AdSense ads. So it's like, I mean, you know.
What
hey, we're supporting each
I
other.
still can't believe, no matter how many times both Linus himself and myself and Steve have said we are all friends, we all talk.
Yeah, and everyone thinks it's like this big 3v3 rivalry of like.
There's no beef.
Yeah.
Like even last night, like at midnight, Linus and I were just having a conversation, just shooting the shit because we were bored and it was late and we were talking. And that's when he was, he actually was like, dude, people are legit thinking I'm mad at you. I was like, what? Yeah. I was like, what? And he showed me the clip. I said, send me a link. And I was like, people think you're mad over that? He's like, I know, crazy, right? It's like people just want to create drama. So, but no, unless Linus wants to pay me some of that Linus bajillion dollars he has.
That's his new nickname, Linus bajillion dollars.
become point number 81.
No,
That would be a weird dynamic. Imagine Linus being your
Jay's
boss.
2 tips.
Oh jeez, that's called a corporate buyout, right?
Oh my goodness.
Well, I guess we'd
No,
be
you know
82
what?
and
You know why he
83.
would never buy me unless my channel failed and I became an on-screen talent for him. My 3.7 million, he has the same 3.7. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
I never brought him any viewership.
The Venn diagram is a circle.
Like here's Jay's circle, but
Yeah, Linus' circle
My
is
circle's
completely enclosed.
inside.
Yeah.
My circle's inside Linus' circle, off to the fringe.
That's a good point.
I'm fringe for Linus, right? He says, question for Phil. Did anyone ever tell you they have a cunning resemblance to Oddjob and Goldfinger?
oh god.
Can you throw your hat and like chop off a mannequin head?
No, I can't.
Or your shoe? A shoe?
I've never
Who throws
tried.
a shoe?
I got shoot. Random task.
Oh.
See, I was thinking Gold Member.
Yeah,
And this one, he
I
said
did
Goldfinger,
use
but-
Random Task as a CS screen name back in the day.
Random
though.
Task.
That was his name in Gold Member.
I think he said Goldfinker.
Because obviously it's Odd Job, right?
Gold
Yeah,
Sphincter.
Gold Sphincter. That's a Twitch category. I mean, what?
No, that's a red tube category.
You saw that Twitch chick that got banned for 7 days for actually having sex on camera, right?
What?
And it was only
It
a 7
finally
day.
happened?
She
It was only
thought the OnlyFans stream info was in, but it was Twitch.
Yeah, the stream keeper only.
wrong platform.
My
Oh jeez,
goodness.
that's neither here nor there. I digress.
Nathan goes on to say, I have no question for Nick, but he's an
Thanks.
interesting guy and I love his default expressions. You mean this one?
Sad.
This one?
Hold on, wait.
No, you got to do his thinking expression or concentrating expression, Jay.
Yeah. See, you have to look down at a 45-degree angle because when you're looking down, you're thinking negative thoughts. When you're thinking, no, think about it. If you're thinking happy thoughts, you look up. Like, huh. When you're thinking something bad, you always go, and you look down. I don't know why human nature does that.
Why does my life
What if
suck?
I just look straight ahead? Like,
If you look straight ahead,
You're not thinking.
it's like, where is he going?
he's not looking at you. He's looking through you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick and his default expression is great.
You guys should see his concentration face. Look out for it next time in the video. It's funny. Like he literally can't control it, dude. It just happens. But yeah.
Oh, when we play Rocket League?
Yeah. No, whenever you do anything that requires your brain concentration, you're like your mouth just tells us how much CPU you're using.
It's
Like
the
the
MSI
more-
afterburner for my brain.
The more sideways and pursed it is, the more like the higher the core count is.
All right. So Mikal, I think it's Mikal. It's European for sure. I know you're talking a lot about cars, but my question is, did any of you ever ride a motorcycle? If not, are you planning or want to in the future?
I want to. I also enjoy my skin on my skin, so I'm a little too scared.
Just don't be a squib.
I know.
Or squid. Don't be a squid. Just wear leathers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fun
I
tangent.
might eventually.
Fun tangent. I wanted one until my mom took me to her work with her one day, and a couple of her patients were motorcycle accident victims.
Oh,
You say victims?
Or-
They're opposite subscribers. They're survivors.
Yeah, survivors.
Car accident? How do I not subscribe?
Participants
to
in motorcycle accidents.
Subscribe to this car accident.
Can I unsubscribe from motorcycle accidents, please?
Yeah, no. So I basically got scared off of that, but it's still in the back of my head. Like it would be cool, but I also don't like the amount of like traffic I have to deal with because I have to be aware of other people.
Yeah.
Or I have to be aware for
Well,
them.
yeah, it's like you
I
can.
don't.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Defensive driving
Yeah.
times 10 million for sure on a bike. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
two of
for
my
me, I rode dirt bikes
yeah.
when I was younger. And
Yeah, I mean,
I took
I
I actually went to the Honda Riding Center and took their riding courses and stuff.
Nice.
But I very rarely went out and didn't hurt myself. So it's not because I was bad. It's because I legitimately was like, I tell people all the time, I suffered from hold my beer syndrome.
Yeah.
I've never done that. I've never seen how to do it, but I'm sure shit gonna do it right now. Yeah. And then, oh, there he goes.
Why do I have no more teeth?
Legit. if
All I have to say is one of the last times I rode a dirt bike, it involved Pismo Beach, California, riding into the sun, not realizing that there was a razorback there, flew off the razorback, smashed my jaw on the handlebar, broke my left arm in 2 different places, split my pants from knee to knee while I was commando, and ended up having to ride back to the beach on a perfect stranger's bike, butt to nuts, with my nuts literally hanging out. So that is probably one of my last, and the reason why I don't ride a road bike, a street bike,
It's empty town. I have to listen to the rest of this sober.
the reason why I don't ride a street bike is because of the fact that I do not trust anyone else on the road.
Yeah. Legit.
I mean, dude, every time you're in my car, dude, like people almost hit us, and that's in a car.
Yeah.
You know, let alone a freaking bike.
But if like I had people like friends in my neighborhood, like, and we had places near our house, I'd get a ruckus, like just to like
What's a ruckus?
like a little,
Little-
street bike.
it's like
See, to me, a ruckus is a Wi-Fi access point.
No,
It's a scooter, but cool.
yeah,
basically.
like
Yeah.
a hipster scooter. Like,
Yeah.
but I'll use it to like go like around town. Like I want to drive or ride freeways and stuff to it. But
Pretty much everyone at my old job like rode bikes, and I like. I always wanted one, and they've always said that like it's pretty much the closest you can get to flying, but on the road. But at the same time,
I don't
it's
want to
like-
fly on the road.
But at the same time, it's like it's just I don't like. I like the idea of riding a bike. I don't like the idea of placing my life in so many other people's hands when they can barely freaking stay in the lane.
they can't even turn their indicators on, and they can't use their headlights at night.
Yeah.
They think their day running lights are
Dude,
headlights.
yeah, so many people would just
How many times have I ranted about people how idiot people are that at night they're driving around with no lights on, they don't realize it because they see their dash lights are illuminated, so they assume their lights are on, but it's just the daylight running lamps, if any lamp.
Dude, I saw a car the other day, like the other night, with not even DRLs on the front. I was like, how does this person see anything? They're on the freeway. I'm like, how do you not realize none of your lights are on?
Yeah.
It has to be pitch
But I
black.
also look at how fast people in here in SoCal, and yes, lane splitting is legal in California.
Yes.
Okay, it's legal. It's supposed to be like 5 miles per hour faster than the speed traffic is going.
Right. So if it's like a stoplight, you have to filter.
I can't tell you how many times I'll be in traffic and just, boom, like, you are an idiot.
Yeah.
Because here's the problem. just like cyclists. There are good cyclists that obey the laws and the rules and don't just ride around on their bike thinking everyone else has to cater to them and be out of their way. And then there's bad, that's a bad cyclist. And then there's good cyclists. So motorcyclists are the same way. There are good riders, and then there are complete lunatic riders. And I feel like you see them all the time. The good riders and the lunatic riders.
Actually, just the other day,
the problem is the lunatic riders make all riders look bad because when someone riding around in a cage or a car sees a motorcycle, they're just gonna be, it's motorcycles, But then the problem is when something happens, there's nothing around you to protect you.
Dude, I saw, like the other day I was leaving work, I was going down the street and like some dude was lane splitting in a wheelie down the street, and he passed like there was a group of I don't know, maybe like 6 or 9 cars or whatever, 3 lanes wide, 3 deep, and like this dude just, and I'm like, what?
It only takes one of them to jump lanes without checking mirrors for them to like wreck themselves.
Yeah.
The problem is, that's the kind of rider I'm okay with them taking themselves out, but they don't normally do it without taking somebody else out with them.
Dude, if he scratched my car, I would have pulled over next to his crumpled body and been like, "Yo, what's your insurance?"
So I have a friend. I have a friend who his wife was also a trauma ER nurse, but an RN, but he unfortunately killed a motorcyclist on accident. It wasn't his fault. Traffic was going like maybe 35, 40 miles an hour. It was in the Riverside area. Guy split in traffic, hit the car that was like back into the right of him.
Oh, so ping.
So he went like ping, ping, like off his truck. So off that car, off the side of his truck.
Yeah.
Off the car to his right and under his truck.
Oh.
So he basically munched that guy up, and it wasn't his fault because he couldn't stop in time. He was just driving his son.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? And then,
dude, psychologically, that's
he had to sit around for a long time and go through all, because his vehicle was now part of a fatal accident. So there was a lot of time taken to do the investigation. So his car was stuck there for a long time, and it was very traumatizing for him. He said, but it's just because the guy was hauling ass and probably clipped a mirror or something with a handlebar, which turned the handlebar, which then plinkoed him between the cars. So that's why I would never ride a motorcycle.
It's not the bike; it's the fact that we have to ride it on a road with other people.
Yeah. Last question comes from.
If it was just us 3, I would have. You just see 3 bikes and. Dang it! Anyway, sorry.
If I had a motorcycle right now, you guys take that home. You'd hear, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, before the turn in the parking lot.
Just yell down and be like, hey, are you okay?
Ow! Ow!
Aren't you guys from the building?
I'm in the bush right there.
Because he doesn't turn, he just goes straight into the
You look out, you just see the back of the bike and the wheels just like turning.
Slowly turning.
How did you not leave the parking lot? We were inverted.
Pretty much.
Geez.
All right,
Anyway.
so last question comes from Srinath. I think I'm just mutilating his name. A couple of years ago, LTT put out a video explaining how the YouTube algorithm, even though it's very opaque to the creators, basically forces them to have clickbaitish titles and thumbnails for their videos. Linus spoke about how no one at LTT actually likes having to do this, but the YouTube algorithm pushes them in that direction anyway. Do you have any internal discussion with Phil or Nick about doing something similar for the thumbnails and videos and titles on JayzTwoCents? If so, what did that discussion look like?
This might be news for them because that's your department.
You guys. Well, no. So I always run it by you guys. I always show you guys like, hey, here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I always start with the most clickbait I can think of.
Yeah.
I'll actually type it out and you'll see. This case will shock you. It's just something stupid. And Phil's like, and I'll be like, Phil, what do you think about this title? And he'll go, right? I'm like, okay, fine. So then I'll start kind of dialing in. And I'm like, okay, I want to be as transparent as possible about what it's about, but you have to, like you said,
play the game.
you have to play the game.
Play the game.
And so I'll sort of pendulum, like kind of dial it in over time and see what people will let me get away with, because there's going to be attrition. People are going to leave because of the titles, but there's people that are going to come because of the titles.
Yeah.
And it sort of sucks, but as long as the people coming outnumbers those that are leaving, you're making the right choice. And so it sucks. I don't like having to make that decision. If YouTube actually gave notifications for every video that went live, then the subscribers would be notified and I wouldn't have to rely on quote unquote clickbait.
Yeah.
But since YouTube chooses the stupid, let's see how the first 1 hour does of the video. If it does well, we might notify more people. Fun fact. If I were to look at the analytics right now, I'm not going to look at one of our viral videos. Like right now, the EVGA viral video is going viral. The Linus Tech Tips video is going viral for our normal content creation. Okay, so for finally building a PC, watch this first, right? Sort of clickbaity, but it basically, it's not in the sense that you know it's about building a PC. Okay, so you know it's about that.
It's about prerequisites that you should know about building a PC.
Right.
Yeah.
If I look at the analytics on that and I see where the viewers came from, 150,000 of those views came from YouTube recommendations. 7,000 came from notifications. That's a problem.
It should be inverted.
That's a problem.
Like those two numbers should be switched in a perfect world,
Yes,
right?
because recommendations mean they show up on the sidebar or whatever. It's presented to you.
Or somebody just searches building a computer and then it's right there.
No, that's separate. That's
that's search hits.
Yeah, there's a
something?
search for
okay.
that.
I didn't know that. That was a different
Other is 20,000. I don't even know what other is. Whatever. When other is higher than notification, there's a problem.
Yeah, like why? What's the subscription even for then?
But the problem is that recommendation. Here's the thing: only 37,000 views of that video came from subscription feed.
Jeez.
So it's all about the recommendation game. So you have to play the stupid clickbait title to get people to watch the video in that first hour to have it continuing to recommend.
Yeah.
So if I do
Even to your own subscribers.
I don't
which
care
is
about
dumb.
I don't care about showing up on anyone else's recommendations. I want my subscribers to see the content first.
But we have to.
But
clickbait
YouTube
to
doesn't
yeah.
do that. So if I look at the Linus Tech Tip screwdriver one, this is going to be an interesting one because a lot of people talked about it. Linus himself talked about it. So if I look at the analytics on that one, 570,000 views in the last day came from recommendations. Subscription feed, 74,000 of the 754,000 views on the video. So less than 10% came from subscriptions. Notifications is not even on the list.
It's too low.
Notifications is off the list.
Work.
So channel pages. Okay, here we go. If I click on it directly, I can see a little bit more. Notifications. Oh, only 25 views came from end screen. Notifications. Of the 756,000 views, 12,000 came from notifications. So there's your insight as to why the title and thumbnails are as ridiculous as they are. I need viewers to stop thinking that the content creator is being greedy in quote unquote clickbait, because it's not clickbait in the sense of what clickbait is. Clickbait was a technique designed to get someone to click on something under the pretense that it was going to be about something, and then it was about something else entirely.
Yeah, because it's
clickbait
it's
and switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Clickbait and switch should be the full term.
Everyone already forgets that. Yeah, about the end switch
Right.
part. Yeah.
I reviewed the Linus Tech screwdriver. Spoiler, I damaged it. People are saying it's clickbait. No.
All of that
I reviewed
happened.
the screwdriver and I damaged it. There's nothing clickbait. You are an absolute moron if you think that. Like, you could not possibly be a bigger moron than that, because it's literally telling you in the title everything you're getting. Now, if I said, I reviewed this and it broke and you'll never guess how, I didn't tell you what it was. I told you that it broke, but I also said, and if the thumbnail didn't include me holding up the screwdriver, because the thumbnail is the other part of the unspoken title. So you have a title that's text, but you need to make sure it's not super long, because then it gets cut off.
Yeah.
So you have to fit it within where it gets cut off, and then the thumbnail has to finish or complete the entire thing you're trying to say. So if I wasn't holding the screwdriver and have an LTT logo or something there, and it was just like, that's now you're getting pretty clickbaity there.
Somebody screenshot that, please.
But it's not. People just want to say, oh, your title made me want to click on it, therefore it's clickbait. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
You have to decide for yourself if it's worth clicking on.
It can be sensationalized without being clickbaity, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, what if I had said, I reviewed the LTT screwdriver broke and you'll never guess how? That's dumb.
Yeah, that's getting there.
Yeah, and I intentionally said damaged.
Yeah.
Because I didn't break it.
Like, it still works.
It still works. Yeah. One bit doesn't stay anymore because the tab broke. But that's not the functional use of that screwdriver still is 100% functional. So that's why I also chose not to say the word broke, because to me that would have been a misleading title. So but you know
that
what though?
actually would have been clickbait, because it's like, yeah, a tab broke, you know, and then you get people like getting all super mad about that.
Like,
because-
that's not even broken. It still works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
this guy brings up a pretty good point, though. I don't clickbait. I don't think at all. I don't think Linus clickbaits either. I think there's title sensationalization. But baiting says basically the description of baiting is that I guess you have to, as long as there's no master in front of that.
Go away, bitch.
Go where I'm baiting. I like money. So that's a idiocracy joke, by the way. No, it's if the title and the thumbnail have nothing to do with the video. Have you ever seen a thumbnail that looks like a screenshot from the video, but that never happened? It was never in the video. That's a clickbait title or clickbait thumbnail. So I think most viewers know this is just the game YouTube has created and we're forced to play it. But I need to start caring less about people's opinions of the titles.
Yeah.
Because the success and the continued growth and sustainability of this business relies on the views, and views are down for everybody right now. Views are down. Viewer fatigue is high. It was a boring summer with tech. This fall, views are going to go way up because we got 4 major launches coming.
It's like TNT. We know drama.
Yeah. But
Oh my god.
It's coming. It's coming.
no,
back.
dude, if I was okay with being a drama channel, it would be tons of views, but I'd also have to give away, I'd have to like let go of any sense of like just decency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I won't do that. Anyway, to kind of end it, feel free to quote me. I don't care if you don't watch my videos because of the titles. I do what I feel like is required to have people continuing to view the content, deliver the content I've always said I'm going to deliver you, and the survival of any YouTube channel relies on that. So clickbait, no. The title is always related to the video in some way. It's just, if you don't want to click on it anymore, that's fine. Because the sad part is there was about a 2-week period there I really played with it, and I leaned in, I'm like,
Yeah.
there's a toe still over the line of not clickbait. There's like a little toe hanging on.
half of a pinky
like,
toe.
My views were up 180% during that period. Now they're back down below normal because I stopped doing that as much. So I've got to find that balance. And that's why I say I'm always going to play with it. But complaining to a content creator that you don't like their titles or their thumbnails literally falls on deaf ears. As it should.
Well,
in my opinion.
look at it this way. It isn't like when you open the homepage, you're immediately blasted with the video playing. Like, you get to choose what video you look at to click. Like,
That's not true. When you go to my channel, there's always an autoplay.
No. Like, when you open up YouTube in general.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it takes you to a landing page at least. It doesn't force feed you into a video. So at least you have that amount of free will in a sense. Like,
Yeah.
There's
because
also,
it gives you,
like-
like, options. Like, here's what you like. Here's something you might like, kind of deal.
And the cool thing is that like Microsoft and Apple have invented this thing called a close button that you can click to stop watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I probably pay more attention to audience retention than I do views, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like messing with the guy
makes more
in the multiplayer lobby. Like, how do you do this?
Alt
Alt F4. Just-
Command Q. hold sleep and volume up.
yeah.
Dude, I can't. Before we sign off, when I was like a diehard World of Warcraft player, I did a ton of PvP, and then I did casual PvE, like not very high mythics, like mythic 10s, mythic 15s, or whatever, and like lower end raids and whatnot. But I'm talking to chat, not you. So,
I have no idea.
Yeah, like,
It's just like-
what
anyway.
is?
but it was always fun to go into like the looking for raid, which is just the like randomized, like looking for a group
the
that's
pick a
thrown
team?
together.
Yeah.
And then the queue puts it together. And the scenes when we how do I so and so, or it's like you're in an event that's happening. It's, everyone alt F4, and you start seeing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, how did you get here?
Yeah.
And you still don't know what Alt F4 is. That's why it's funny that certain titles now like actually disable Alt F4 in their game.
Yeah, we were laughing at Rocket
Yeah.
League doing that because I was literally trying to rage quit once and it didn't. I was like hitting it. I'm like, what the heck? It made me more mad.
IKEA in chat says in 100% of cases, Alt F4 reduces lag.
That is true.
Facts.
Hey IKEA, you should see if AJ wants to get on and play more Sea of Thieves tonight after I have movie night with my kid. Speaking of movie night, I gotta get home and do that. So thanks for watching and listening to the RTFM show. We enjoy being back. We enjoy hanging out with you guys. And if
great.
you've got a dad bod or you just appreciate dad bods and man boobs, then make sure you check out the Dad Bods and PC Mods shirt available now at JayzTwoCents.com. And you don't have to be a dad to actually have one or have a dad bod.
Are you sure?
They just look better on dad bods than they do on like ripped bods, you know. So.
Oh, okay.
All right, if you guys want to listen to just the audio podcast, it is available on obviously Spotify, Apple Music, Google, and all the other syndicated crap, and it's usually up later in the day. So write us at RTFM at JayzTwoCents.com if you want your question to potentially be featured. And once again, we appreciate all of you for hanging out with us tonight. Any final words, you guys?
Peace.
Bye.
Okay.
Also, you lost a game.